This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm your host, Juan Carlos Hernandez. Our guests today are from Latina Art League, a group of Latina artists that is working throughout the Chicago metro area to promote their heritage through the arts. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Great. Let's start off by talking about the roots of this group. How did it start and why?
We started up in February of this past year, 2013. We started, I started going to different art exhibits, and I noticed that a lot of Latinas are not working together. And so I thought, well, let me
Latina
ask,
artists.
Latina artists, yeah, specifically. So I asked a couple of friends, I said, hey, you know, why don't we exhibit together and we'll help each other out. And we started, our first exhibit was in Chicago State University.
Yes.
In February for...
Down on 95th Street, right?
Yes, yes. So the main reason was to support each other, to express ourselves through our art, and to also keep our heritage going, our traditions.
Definitely. Luz, how did you become part of the group? Were you one of those people she contacted first, or?
We were friends. We had been in another exhibit, and she mentioned that she was starting a group, and she asked me if I was interested in joining, and of course I was the first one.
You're the first one?
Yes.
Wow. So she didn't have to pay you or anything to join the group?
No. Voluntarily.
I said, are you in? She's like, I'm in. Okay.
Me. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, they paid you, Laura. Tell us how you became part of the group.
I met them last year for the Women's Month
in
at
March.
Dominguez's gallery. It just happened that they called me, and ever since I met them, I'm attached at the hip now.
Really? So you didn't even know them?
No, and you would think we know each other since we were kids, because we were like, siempre estamos, like we're together all the time.
Like como uña y tierra? Or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was the beginning. And my question is, why Latinas specifically? You did say you saw Latinas not working with each other, but why did you choose just to work with women?
Well, because the art world, as we know, is mainly run by men, really, and in Latinas, so that's double whammy. We're women and we're Latinas, yeah, in a sense. So, we know all the great artists that are known are the male artists. So I figured, you know, well, if we're Latinas and we stick together and we just help each other, I think we could do something great. And we're great artists, we're good artists. And I think as individuals, we're good artists, but if we come together when we're together, I think it's a better group, you know.
So have you found that in your own experience, Luz, the fact that it's a male-dominated world as far as the arts, the visual arts? Yes.
And I feel that there's less women out there, well-known women out there, women artists. And
it brings me to my next question. If it's a male-dominated world as far as the visual arts, how does that work as far as the art scene, the Latina art scene here in Chicago and in the Midwest? I don't know if we can speak about the entire Midwest, but certainly we can speak about Chicago. What's been your own experience and your own impression of things? Laura?
How can I explain that? Since I'm more in the fashion and jewelry side of it,
it's another side.
It's a whole different side. I'm not really, I think that either Carmina or Luz can answer this question more in a better way than I would. But as far as fashion, Chicago, I mean, if you're not in New York, Miami, LA, Chicago's kind of a struggling we're trying. We're still trying to keep the
blue collar.
Yeah, to keep it alive. And even in fashion, you hear the Calvin Kleins, you know, and it's mainly the male, because who more than to dress a woman beautifully than a man? He has the vision. As far as like the art scene, I wouldn't be able to answer that more in depth than they would.
Sure. Carmen, so what's been your experience as far as the Latina art scene in the city?
from my experience, I only talked about my experience, but I'm out in the suburbs. I started displaying my artwork, which is very Hispanic, very Mexican oriented. And so in the Anglo community, I wasn't accepted at all.
Really?
So it was something where I had an individual come up to me, and I had a Diego Rivera painting. It was a replica that I made, and he said, you know, that doesn't belong here. You shouldn't be showing this kind of stuff.
What kind of place was this where you were exhibiting?
I was in the suburb, in can I say the suburb? Should I?
Yeah, you can say suburb.
Okay. Well, I'm
a gallery.
Des Plaines.
Okay.
I was in Des Plaines. It was actually an art fair, and an individual came up to me and told me this. And said,
At an art fair.
An art fair, and I was the only Latina in the art fair. First of all, I had done a couple of art fairs there in the suburbs, and I got the same thing. You know, your stuff doesn't belong here. It belongs, you know, out in Pilsen. And at the time, I didn't know where Pilsen was. I'm from California.
Right, you're from
I'm from California. So at the time, I didn't know where Pilsen was, what they were talking about. So quite a few people came up, oh, this is very different. Oh, it's different. You know, so I even got a few, this is scary because I have the calaveras, the skulls and stuff, which is Day of the Dead.
Right.
So, you know, I got a lot of those responses from the Anglo community. But from the Latino community was
out in the suburbs.
Out in the suburbs, they would come up to me and say, "Thank you for sharing your artwork because we don't have that here."
Interesting.
You know, we don't have. My children don't know about who Diego Rivera is, who Frida Kahlo is. Thank you for this. So I got a lot of that. So that kind of gave me a little bit more, you know, like motivation to keep going.
Wow, but that experience, the fact that you were at these art fairs and you got that type of reaction, does speak about what other Latinas or Latino artists in general may experience. Luz, what's been your experience?
Well, I first experienced it when I was interning at Aldo Castillo Gallery in River North. I was there for approximately 5 years, and not knowing, I noticed that it was mostly male artists that were exhibiting. And just a handful of women artists, just
and then
not very many.
Just very few Latinas then.
Oh, yes, yes.
And how did you work against that? Did you seek out more Latinas like yourself, or?
Well, because I was an intern, I couldn't do that, but I saw, it was a Latin American gallery, so not necessarily was it Latin American women. It was, you know, German artists, French artists, you know, people of all races. But I was disappointing, you know, it was disappointing because it wasn't something that I was looking for, but it was definitely noticeable.
Okay. That was disappointing, and certainly you were coming up against some barriers. And my impression of the art world is that there's a lot of competition.
Yes.
Nonetheless, you have come together in a group. How does that mesh? Is there a friendly competition, or is there motivation between you, or how does that work?
I think there's more motivation.
Yes.
Because I upped my game actually with these girls, because they have me painting now more than I'm usually a mixed media artist. So now I'm painting again, because when I went to School of the Arts to Chicago, it's like a candy store. You want to go everywhere. So I went in as a painter, but I came out a mixed media artist. So when I met them, and Luz's stuff is amazing, and I was like, okay, I need to start painting again, you know. So yeah, I think I upped it.
Yeah.
And you're a jewelry maker in the fashion world. How did this collaboration, this cooperation between these, I guess, different type of visual artists motivate you or work in
with having the gallery and everything, I was looking for really interesting people, and at first I was like, when they said, "Oh, you want to be part of my group?" I said, "I don't paint." I mean, I was like, "I don't paint." I do have some. I mean, I started out in art, and then I ended up with fashion and merchandising, and they're like, "But this is art." And so I started making my purses, painting the boxes and learning from them. And I'm still learning from them. And when I say, I can't do this, yes, you can. Like, none of us in the group will take no for an answer. Yes, you can. You can do this. And we motivate each other. We're each other's cheerleaders.
Really?
Yeah. And so the whole competition thing, it's kind of cool because we're like, oh, well, if she does this, I have to do this, and it's a healthy competition, and it only makes us stronger as a group, and you should see my gallery. It's awesome. Every time you turn around, and as the owner of the gallery, it's awesome to come in and see new art every month. And I don't have to pay for it.
What did you whisper?
Oh, I said, I don't have to pay for it.
You see new art every month and you don't have to pay for it.
Exactly. Well, we tease about that. But and at night when, I'm trying to bring back the raccoon look because we don't sleep. I don't sleep. And we're all, if we're having a bad day, we all get together and say, no, we say the right things at the right time. We're there for each other. We're like family. We're not, it's more than just being artists. Latina artists together, it's like this bond. Yeah.
So tell me about this. You said that there have been times where you're like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And you said they're like family, well, sisters, cousins, whatever. Tell me about a moment when they've come to you and said, well, and you're like, I can't do this. And
just the other night. She was trying to get some aprons going because, she's doing some Elvis stuff for our next exhibit, and we're like, no, you could do it. Look, and Laura, another of the artists, she goes to Pinterest and she's like, look at this. So it's giving her ideas, and we do that a lot. We'll like go search for ideas, and then we'll, we're on Facebook every day helping each other out. So we do that a lot. Or like, for example, me, I couldn't do the eyes because painting the eyes is like the hardest thing for me to do. And it was 3 a.m. And I'm like, I can't do these eyes. And they're like, no, come on, you can do it. So, yeah.
Wow, you're painting at 3 a.m?
Yeah, that's when I paint. Yeah, that's when I paint.
We work at all hours.
And we're talking to each other, Yeah.
Really? And so how do you talk to each other? Who else are you keeping up in your homes at that hour?
Whoever's in it.
Yeah.
Computer's going and you have your laptop going and you can do the chats.
We do the chats.
Texting?
No, we mostly do the chat on Facebook. We do that.
Okay.
And then the way we can send the images to what we're doing, what we're creating. And then we get, we do the crits.
Okay.
So we do that a lot.
No Skyping or Google groups?
No, right?
Yeah. If it's really an emergency, not yet. But if it's an emergency, we'll call, hey, but no, usually we do the chat and we're good about that.
It's a really close bond. It's like sisters.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Now, I'm getting the sense from you that, you've said you motivate each other. I guess in a sense you also inspire each other. I'm curious about your first inspirations as artists. Who inspired you to become an artist or to start creating? Let's start with Laura.
Mi abuelita, my grandma.
Your abuelita. Why your grandmother?
She used to work for Tootsie Roll. And every time I would go down, we used to live in the same apartment building, and I would go down there, and she would always it's funny, she would always give me a candy, and we sit down and she started crocheting or sewing. And so I always associate like Tootsie Roll with like sewing and crocheting and all the yarns, and it always seemed like when I did something, when I paid attention, I actually, I wish I would have paid more attention, I should say, to a lot of the things she was teaching me. But she would watch the Lawrence Welk show, and the girls would come out with the bubbles and the big band music.
Right.
And between those 3 things, I associate with my first inspiration. She always was doing something different and creative. And I mean, my grandma was the only, she was very funky grandma. She would wear like green shoes with purple pants, and it was all polyester,
Wow.
And so she always had different like creations. She was always doing something. And I think I get it from her. Like she was always nonstop, whether she was working, taking care of her family, my family. taking care of me, watching me that I don't cut myself while cutting a pattern or whatever it is. But she was always nonstop, and she never complained. And that's why I want to be more like her, whereas I do everything, but I want to be like my grandma, more like my grandma. Very strong, and she...
Disciplined?
Disciplined, that's the word. Very disciplined.
Yeah, certainly those generations were incredibly disciplined.
Yes, because I start projects and they're all over the place, where she was like, no, mija, we have to finish this to go to do this. Because I always wanted to jump as a kid, and I still do it now. And I wish I could be more like my grandma. She's like, no, finish this. Look how beautiful this is first, and then go to the next. Because, I mean, I think about her every time I see my box. It's all like...
And we have some of your work here, right?
Yes,
here
thank you.
The coffee table that you have at your gallery.
Yes.
Right, Blue Betty's in Pilsen.
Correct.
Okay, Luz, who was your inspiration, living or dead, famous or not?
My mother, actually. She's still here. She's a seamstress, self-taught.
Self-taught.
Yeah, she used to make all of her clothes, her blouses, dresses, pants, everything. And I could never sew to this day. I can only sew a button.
So she didn't inspire you to become a seamstress.
But she's so creative. She designed her own blouses, her pants, everything. And I always liked to doodle. As far back as I can remember, I was doodling. They used to buy me the dollar pads, the skinny little pads with the connect the dots, and that's what I used to do. And it's been a lifelong dream to become an artist.
And you are one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Carmina, who's been your inspiration?
My grandfather, biologically, he's not my grandfather. He raised me Cuban. He was a mathematician and a general in the Cuban army. And so I was a hyper child. So the way to calm me down...
I think you're still hyper.
I think I am, yeah. I still have some there in there. And so what he would do, he would cut out the comic strips. And, they're about yay big. So he would get a piece of paper, 8 by 11. And he's like, okay, I want it this big now. So I would have to sit there and draw it that big. And it would take me a while. So I would have to sit there and do it. And by the time I knew it, he had a binder of all of my drawings put together this big.
Wow.
So from there, I just started, the pencils, the watercolors came, and I haven't stopped since.
And this was in California?
California, yes.
Where in California?
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
Where there's a beach. A real one.
What, Lake Michigan doesn't have
No,
no
it doesn't count. You just added sand to it. I'm sorry.
That wasn't us. It was Mother Nature. That's Ice Age.
My husband tells me all the time. He's
had
like,
nothing to do with that.
We have a beach. I'm like, no. So yeah, Santa Monica.
Before we continue, I just want to say the Midwest has really beautiful areas that I don't think we fully appreciate.
Oh no, I
agree.
I love Chicago. I mean, to this day, I tell my husband, I would not go back as much as I love Santa Monica. I love it here. I just don't like the winters.
None of us do.
No, I don't like the winters.
I'm a winter
this
baby.
winter's been very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also, in thinking about inspiration, I think about who inspires me in my work. And I often think about the arts and who I see as maybe the artists that are made into models. And I think we see them often. And I actually saw them in some of the images that we're showing. Frida Kahlo. And I call her Frida la Sufrida myself. For you as women and Latinas, do you think we place too much of a focus on Frida, or is she just a great model to follow? What's your opinion? Have you ever thought about her that way? Would like to take that first.
Go ahead,
Luz?
Carmina.
Oh, great. Well, I see her as a model just because I can relate to a lot of stuff that she's going through, because I have a spinal cord injury.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I relate and I connect with her. She's Mexican. What other Mexican artist do we know that is as famous as she is? Right. Her work is her reality. She even says, I paint my reality. So it comes from within, So I admire that from her being so personal and putting things out there in public that are so private,
And you, Luz, well, how do you see this?
She was very raw, you know. She painted what she wanted to paint, and that's admirable. You know, women, most Mexican women that I know, excluding our group, but most Mexican women or Latino women that I know are reserved, you know. That's how we were brought up. But back then, you know, here's Frida, and, you know, with Diego Rivera and women and painting what she wants, you know, that's very admirable.
And for you, Laura?
Well, I also, I have hernia discs in my neck. And when I saw her paintings, I actually made my first pen in my metalsmithing class was like a figure of a woman with the head hanging to the side. My teacher was like, "Who inspired you?" I'm like, "Frida." I feel her pain, and I think that she was very you know, she didn't hold back. I kind of put her and Betty Page on the same page because it's like they're both pioneers in their work that they inspire and make you, they kind of inspire you to be who you really are, to express yourself. Because a lot of the times I think that commercial, oh, everybody wants to be like that person, this person. I want to inspire you to be you, to whatever is inside of you to come out. And that's what Frida is to me. She inspires me.
That's very beautifully said.
You know?
Now, you do Latina Art League. You mainly exhibit. That's your house, right? What's the
Blue
name?
Betty's.
Blue Betty's in Pilsen.
Yes.
And you organize different exhibitions every month. You, as a group, or is it other artists as well?
Us as a group, but we also invite other artists as guest artists.
Okay.
So, like for this exhibit, we're having, I believe, 1 or 2 other artists are going to be part of our exhibit. On Saturday, we have the reception.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And they'll be going for a month, right?
For a month, yeah. It starts this Saturday, 25th.
January 25th?
January 25th. We have the reception from 6 to 12 a.m. So, and
Does it ever go beyond 12?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we stay behind. And,
definitely.
Yeah, we do the after party.
Yeah.
That's what we do. So, and it's a 1950s theme, so people come dressed up and.
Really?
Yeah, we always make it fun.
Fun. Yeah, we make it fun, and usually we have Laura do a fashion show. Because we always integrate the fashion show, or we have poetry. So it's not just about the art; it's also about other aspects of the arts. You know.
And this exhibition, is there, I mean, it's open to the community, to the public?
Yes.
Okay, and what if artists are, and before I get to that, actually, the theme for this month is what?
Elvis.
Elvis?
Elvis and the Heartbreak.
Why? Well, I'm curious about why. He's not Latino, obviously.
No, you know, well, we've actually had a lot of controversial, I can't say it, sorry.
Controversial?
Yeah, with this, but we just had a couple of the members who were really Elvis fans. And so what better than, you know, the heartache also because of Valentine's, because it extends after Valentine's.
Okay.
So that's why it's called Heartbreak Hotel.
Okay.
So it also involves the hearts and Elvis as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other themes have you focused on in different exhibitions?
We've done Viva la Cultura in Elgin, where we celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month.
Okay.
And we had dancers, folklóricos, the guitarist. We had an awesome fashion show as well by Laura. And so, yeah, what else have we done? Women's Month.
Okay.
We've done, and so Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos. Okay.
And we've had a fashion show as well. And we, my daughter got all dressed up. The little kids got all dressed up.
Yeah.
It was really nice. And then we did the altar as well at Casa Durango.
Casa Durango.
Casa Durango, yes.
Where is it? Casa Durango?
Like Ogden and
Ogden, yeah.
Madison, right by the United Center.
Yeah. And then we were also in Naperville with the Chicago Symphony.
Okay.
So we did the we did the altar outside, and our paintings were outside, and that was an awesome concert, you know. So
we were at the state treasurer's office
oh,
as well.
We're still at the state treasurer's actually till next month, and we've been there for 7 months now. Well, next month it'll be 7 months, so we're still there.
That's awesome. You guys, it sounds like you're doing a lot of things, and you've done a lot of things in a very short period of time. We're almost out of time though, but I'm curious as to what your vision is going toward the future. Luz, what do you think is going to happen with this group?
I believe it's going to grow. It's going to be more than 8 members, permanent members. It's going to grow. I'm looking to influence in a positive way, of course, you know, more young ladies and people in general.
And what would you like to happen with the group?
The same thing. I don't see us being only the 8 of us. I think a lot of people, when they become our guest members, they're like, or our guests, they're like, oh, they kind of ask a lot of questions. It's almost kind of like, kind of their way of asking, oh, can I be part of your group? and like Lou says, you know, my gallery is right by one of the high schools. So it's kind of nice to see when high schoolers do come in and they get all excited, and I tell them, okay, well, but they'll tell me, I don't like this color. Don't worry, give me 5 minutes and I'll show you how to make this. So I love the fact that maybe we become a teaching gallery also.
Okay.
That's
awesome. And one word for the future of Latina Art League.
One word?
Yeah.
Empower and educate. I have 2, sorry.
Okay, that's right. Great, well, we're out of time, but thank you, all of you, for coming out to share the story of Latina Art League and your stories as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for your time.
Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune in to Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.